Hey guys, it's Tori and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing my spring reading wrap up. So we're going to be covering the months of March, April, and May. I am pre-filming this just a little bit. So there are definitely a couple of books that I will have read in May that won't be in this video, but just go check out my Goodreads if you want to stay up to date and just see what those last few books that I've read for the month are. I have a very hectic next week and a half to 2 weeks, so if y'all wanted this video soon, I had to do some pre-filming. So we're just going to be going through 3 months worth of reading. I feel like it's just easier to do seasonal wrap-ups rather than monthly wrap-ups. I tend to be a bit of a slower reader, so I only read between 6 and 8 books a month at the most, and so we just do seasonal wrap-ups rather than monthly wrap-ups around here. If you want that to change, please let me know down below. So with all that being said, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my face. Check out all my socials down below, including my Goodreads and my Amazon book wishlist. And let's get into my spring reading wrap-up. So I have read 18 books in the last 3 months, which is actually a lot for me personally. I think I'm 10 books ahead of my Goodreads goal for the year. So I'm really excited about that. But we're going to just dip right in. So we're going to be going in order of when I read them. So it's going to be starting in March, going up until now. So the first 2 books that I read were the tandem read in the Throne of Glass series. So this is books 6 and 7, and you're supposed to read them at the same time, and you interchange between chapters. So you read a couple chapters of this one, then a couple of this one, and so on and so forth. So I read these in a tandem at the very beginning of March. It was a headache, but also such a great, wonderful experience. The Throne of Glass series is one of my all-time favorite series ever. I love these books so much. So I gave both Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn 5 stars. I'm not sure that anyone will be surprised by that. I loved these so much. I literally love this series, these characters, just everything about this. It's my whole entire heart. I highly recommend reading Throne of Glass if you never have. Read Assassin's Blade first and then read Throne of Glass, but I love these so much and I am so happy that I read them, and I recommend doing the tandem as well. It made the reading experience very exciting and I just had such a great time. Then I continued on the emotional turmoil and I read Redeeming 6. This is the 4th book in the Boys of Tommen series. I had been putting this off and I don't know why, but when I finally got back into this world, I literally loved every single second of it. I gave this book 5 stars. So basically this series follows Johnny and Shannon for the first 2 books, and then Joey and Aoife for the 3rd and 4th book. So this is Joey and Aoife's 2nd book in the series, and it's just a very emotional series. I highly recommend it, but please check trigger warnings before you go into this. This is apparently considered YA, but I completely disagree with that. I think that's total bullshit, and this is not a YA series at all. I honestly would not read this if you're under the age of at least 16, if not older. There's a lot of spice, emotional turmoil, foul language, very traumatic experiences. I just don't think that this is for the faint of heart. This is not just a guilty pleasure read. This is a emotional turmoil, but you're gonna love the characters in the story with everything in your body. So I highly recommend, but please just be considerate before you go into the series. I carried on with another banger, and that was Daisy Hates the Great Undoing. I rediscovered this series this year. I read the first Magnolia Parks book last year and I was not impressed. Didn't like it. And then I gave the series a try again this year, and now it is quite literally my whole personality. I literally have a bow tattoo to represent the series. I literally love it so much. So this is the 4th book in the Magnolia Parks universe. So there is a difference between the Magnolia Parks books and the Magnolia Parks universe. So this book follows Daisy, Christian, and Julian. And then there are other books that follow Magnolia and BJ. This one, wow. Literally wow. So much happened. You get so much insight. I literally love this so much. So basically how the series works is the first 2 books follow the same timeline, they're just in different point of views, and then the 3rd and 4th book follow the same timeline in different point of views, and then the 5th and 6th will do the same. There's only the first 5 out right now. There should be 2 more Daisy Hates books coming as far as I'm aware, so this series is incomplete, but oh my god, I highly recommend. Magnolia Parks is more of like Gossip Girl in London, and then Daisy Hates is like mafia gang vibes. The quotes are immaculate. Julian Hates, oh my god, that man, like, he just did something to me in this book. The annotations is actually astronomical. I cannot wait to reread the series. It's gonna have to happen, and I loved every single second. So 5 stars, highly recommend. Now we have a book that I was not a fan of, Butcher and Blackbird. I gave this 2.5 stars. Yes, I did listen to the audiobook as well. So this is a dark graphic romance. This is about 2 serial killers. They're kind of like vigilante serial killers. So they kill other serial killers who have done like terrible, terrible things, and they end up falling in love. I quite literally hated this. It's very, very spicy, so if you like spice, maybe you'll like this. I just don't think I'm a dark romance girly, and so this like actually made me feel just ick. There is some very fucking disgusting things that happen in this book. It is more of like a comedy dark romance, so if that sounds good, then to each your own, but please read trigger warnings before you go into this, and I'm not recommending this. Do what you want with that information. Not a fan. Just not my cup of tea. I would literally never read this again. I don't even want to touch it. No, thank you. Nope. Next, we have a heart-wrenching one, and that is Kingdom of Ash. This is the final book in the Throne of Glass series. Like I said earlier, I love this series and these characters with my whole entire being. I did film a reading vlog for this book and also the tandem read, so if you're wanting to see my reactions, go check those videos out. They were filmed and uploaded in March, I believe. But I loved this. This was absolutely a 6-star. The way that she closed out the series is insane. There was so much loss and pain, and it was just crazy. So much happened in this book. Like, she's literally 1,000 pages, so if that just doesn't tell you anything, I don't know what will. But I loved my reading experience. I cannot wait to go back into the series eventually. I honestly want to reread the first few books in the series really soon. I kind of just want to revisit things, and I know that I'm going to pick up on so many little Easter eggs that Sarah J Maas sprinkled throughout the series. But the series is amazing. This book is amazing. She cleaned up this series in such a beautiful way, and I just highly recommend. I loved this so much. I started off April with Hot House Flower by Krista and Becca Ritchie. This is the 5th book in the Addicted Calloway series, I believe. So this is the first one with Reich and Daisy. So I love Reich and Daisy so much. They're probably my favorite couple, but this book was just lacking for me. I feel like, honestly, Krista and Becca's writing style, it's just very lackluster. I feel like they just need to focus more on like imagery and beautiful quotes and stuff. I feel like it's just very like clean cut, like they did this, they did that, blah blah blah. Like, I just feel like, in my personal opinion, it's lacking a little bit. And I honestly didn't even realize that until I started reading a lot more this year, and I started to like read things like Magnolia Parks and the Boys of Tommen series and Throne of Glass, where those just have so much imagery and emotion that I then realized that this series is just lacking for me personally. I know it's a very beloved series, and I did enjoy it. Like I said, I love Reich and Daisy. I love them together so much. But this is like a 3.75-ish for me. I am going to continue the series, but as of right now, the series as a whole is definitely not a 5-star for me personally. I enjoy it, I like it, I love it, but it's just not my all-time favorite thing ever. So I do recommend reading this series, but it's just not my personal favorite. Then I did a couple of rereads. So I reread my all-time favorite romance books, and I do have a reading vlog up on that if you want to check that out. So I reread Happy Place by Emily Henry. This is my all-time favorite book literally ever. This takes the cake for my top favorite book of all time. I just relate to the female main character Harriet on another level. So this book is about Harriet and Winn, and basically they are going on this trip with their group of best friends, and none of their friends know that they broke up, so they fake date while on this trip. I feel like this book is perfect for anyone in their early 20s trying to figure out life and friendship and just how to handle becoming who you want to be and changing who you are for a relationship. And I love this so much. Harriet and Winn are literally quite, like, they are meant for each other. If I've never seen a couple more meant for each other than these people, like, it's just amazing. The quotes are absolutely stunning. I fully annotated my paperback version when I did my reread, and it was just everything to me. I cried so many times. I love this book. I highly recommend reading it. This is just a masterpiece in my opinion, and it will hold a special place in my heart for literally ever. And like I said, if it doesn't tell you something, I've read this twice now, so it's amazing. I highly recommend. Then I did my reread of Say You Swear. So this book was a top favorite of mine in 2023, and so I decided to reread it, see if I still loved it, and I did thoroughly enjoy it. I did annotate some of it. I have the rest of my annotations on my Kindle. I just need to transfer them over to my paperback still. But this book is it's really hard to describe. So the back says, her brother's best friend broke her heart, but what happens when his new teammate wants to put it back together? So this is about Ariana, and Ariana has been in love with her twin brother's best friend forever, and he has been giving her mixed signals and just not really playing into her feelings and kind of just, like, you know, making her feel different things. So then she meets this guy named Noah, and basically Noah and her become really good friends, and it just, things blossom from there. This is a sports romance. It's literally so emotional and amazing. I love this book so much. I cannot wait for the second one in the series to come out later on this year. So I highly recommend reading Say You Swear by Megan Brandy. This is on Kindle Unlimited, so if you're wanting a easy option, then I recommend doing it that way. But I love this book. I highly recommend, if you haven't read it, to check it out and just see how you feel. It's a very good, like, guilty pleasure kind of book, and it's also very emotional. Next we have my most anticipated read of the year, and that was Taming 7 by Chloe Walsh. This is the 5th book in the Boys of Tommen series. This was literally a masterpiece. It was the easiest 5 stars I have ever given to a book, literally ever. I, within like 15-20 pages, knew that this was 5 stars. This is Claire and Gibbs's book. This, wow, so much happened in this book. This basically is the aftermath of the first 4 books. So the first 4 books are kind of like the Magnolia Parks series, where they're like same timeline but different point of views, but this book follows the aftermath of those first 4 books. So I love this so much. I was so happy to get back with these characters and just to see Claire and Gibbs's romance finally spark, and oh, it was just amazing. So much happened in this book that I was not expecting. It was very emotional and heart-wrenching, but I literally finished it in like 24 hours. I highly recommend reading this. I loved it so much. Like I said, this series holds such a special place in my heart. After Taming 7, I read a little novella, and that was Powerful by Lauren Roberts. This is the first novella in the Powerless trilogy. So this was following Adina while Peyton was in the trials. So basically the first book follows Peyton, and she's basically an ordinary, and there is this Hunger Games for the elites, and nobody knows that she's an ordinary, and so she has to basically lie to everybody to stay alive and say, yes, I'm an elite. I'm an elite. This is my power. And she gets stuck competing in the Hunger Games trials. So this one is about her best friend Adina while Peyton was in those trials. So this follows a cute little romance between Adina and Mac. This was super cute, super sweet. The ending literally shattered my soul. I knew it was coming, but it still hurt. I absolutely recommend this. I met Lauren actually a few weeks ago, and she's the sweetest soul. I cannot wait to continue the series with her. So I ended up giving this one 4 stars. Then I finished off one of my all-time favorite series with Magnolia Park's Into the Dark. This is the 5th and final book as of now in the Magnolia Park's universe. I have never annotated a book as much as I annotated this one. She is pretty thick for being a romance. She's over 700 pages, but I just loved this so much. It was so good, so perfect. I gave this one 5 stars. You should not be surprised by that, but I loved it so much. I was so excited to just see where the series was finally going to end, because this is the last book in Magnolia and BJ's point of view. Like I said earlier, there are still supposed to be 2 more Daisy Hates books, but the character development is absolutely insane. I just feel like this was such a good way to clean up BJ and Magnolia's story. There's grief in here, amazing character development. This book was so good, and I loved this series with my whole entire being. So I highly recommend reading Magnolia Parks. Please give it a chance. You will not regret it. Then I continued the month reading a bunch of new releases. So I read Funny Story by Emily Henry. I gave this 3.5 stars. Unfortunately, it just was not my favorite. I had higher expectations for this because I love Happy Place so much. But this one follows Daphne and Miles. Basically, Daphne is engaged and she's supposed to be getting married, but a month before her wedding, her fiance tells Daphne that he's leaving her for his female childhood best friend. And that best friend also had a boyfriend, and his name was Miles. Daphne is told that she has like a few days to pack up her stuff and leave the house that they bought together. So Daphne gets a hold of Miles and she's like, hey, I know you need a roommate. Can I live with you? And they live together. They become roommates. And their exes are together, and so their exes end up announcing that they're going to get married, and they invite Miles and Daphne to the wedding, and Daphne kind of sporadically says, actually Miles and I are together, to make their exes jealous. And it's fake dating, roommate, close proximity. This book was good. I really liked it, but it just wasn't quite what I was hoping for. This is also definitely Emily Henry's spiciest book that I have read. I was not expecting all of the spice that I got from this. I do recommend it. I did really enjoy it. I think I'm gonna have to reread it at some point just to see if my opinion changes, but it was slightly lackluster for me personally. Then I read my very first Elsie Silver book, and that was Wild Love. This is her brand new release. This is her new series, which is the Rose Hill series. So this book follows Ford and Rosie. Basically, Ford is Rosie's brother's best friend. This is also a small town billionaire single dad. I gave this one 3.75 stars. I really enjoyed the first like 60% of it, and then the last 40% I was like, what is happening? Because literally it went from just like really good tension and banter to smut, and I was like, okay, I expected there to be some spice in here, but I didn't expect the complete 180 that we got. So this was good. I recommend, but definitely not my favorite book ever. I had higher expectations because I've heard such amazing things about Elsie Silver, but I still definitely want to give the Chestnut Spring series a go and just see how I feel about that. But this one was 3.75 for me. My next read was so close to being a 5 stars, and that was Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. I gave this 3.75 stars. I literally loved this. I finished it in 2 sittings. That's how much I loved it. This was so good. I highly recommend. So basically in this book, Justin posts a Reddit post, and it's like one of those "Am I the asshole?" posts, and Emma sees it and she ends up messaging him because in this post he says that he has a curse where basically any girl he dates finds the love of their life after they break up. And so she messages him and she's like, oh my gosh, the same thing happens to me. And he comes up with the amazing idea for them to date each other to like X out their curses together. So if they date, then after they break up, they should both find the love of their life after. Well, basically this is just like the journey. They come up with these guidelines of their month or 6 weeks or so of dating each other and what has to happen so it seems like a real relationship for them to break up and find the loves of their life. The quotes, the acts of service, I related to Emma on another level. It was actually insane. She is me, I am her, just like I am Harriet with Happy Place. Like, those two characters describe me in a perfect nutshell. I love this. I highly, highly, highly recommend. I cannot wait to eventually reread this. This is just such a good, emotional, but heartwarming, cozy romance. It was so cute. It's perfect for the summertime, like literally just for the summer. Highly recommend. So good. Please pick this up. Please. I actually am gonna beg you to pick this book up. Next is actually one that I enjoyed a lot more than I thought I was going to, and that is The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is like a YA Criminal Minds mystery thriller type book. I've never really dipped my toe into the thriller mystery realm of reading much, but wow, I loved this. I highly recommend. This is so good. I have continued the series because I liked it that much, and this is just so good. I don't even know what else to say other than it's so good, and I highly recommend. And I thoroughly, thoroughly enjoyed it. And the first one is on Kindle Unlimited. Then we had my first DNF of the year, and that was Belladonna. I read the first like 40% of this on my Kindle, and I quite literally hated it. Was not a fan. I was so confused, so lost, did not understand where the story was going at all. I still don't really know what the premise of the story was, so that one was a DNF. I ended up giving it 2 stars on Goodreads. And then my final book that I have read so far up until May was Killer Instinct. This is the second book in the Naturals series. This is just a continuation of obviously the first book. I actually really liked this one. This also got 4 stars for me, and I'm currently reading the third one because I really am enjoying the series. It's just a lot of fun. I loved the love triangle. I thought it was so good. I am so glad with who she decided to choose. I love these characters so much. It's just so fun. Each of the 5 kids in the Naturals program have like different abilities, and they help the FBI. They solve cold cases. They are involved in some crazy stuff, and it's just really fun. And I love like copy police type shows like SWAT, Criminal Minds, Law and Order, Special Victims Unit, like all those shows I love. So this is just a really fun book version of all of those shows. So I highly, highly, highly recommend trying out this series. It's also perfect to get you out of a slump because your girl's been feeling a little slumpy recently after reading so much romance, and this has helped get me out of that. So I highly recommend. Alright guys, that is the 18 books I read for March, April, and May. I honestly have had such a good reading year so far. I've found so many amazing books and series that I love. I am chasing that 5-star feeling right now. I have not had a 5-star in a while, and so I feel like I hopefully will find one soon. But let me know down below your favorite book that you have read in the past couple of months, or anything you're excited to read, or if you've read any of these and how you feel about them. But with all that being said, make sure you like, comment, subscribe to my face, check out all my socials down below, including my Goodreads and my Amazon book wish list. And I hope you're having an amazing, wonderful day or night wherever you are. I love you to the moon and Saturn, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!